All right, let's get into it. Today, we are looking at a really fascinating and frankly, kind of terrifying case study in leadership. It is the story of a king who was basically handed the key to his nation's survival, and he literally set it on fire. And believe me, this isn't just some dusty old story. It's a timeless lesson on power, pride, and what happens when you just refuse to listen.
And that's really the big question here, isn't it? When everything's on the line, when a leader gets hit with a critical, inconvenient truth, what is their responsibility? More importantly, what happens when they completely fail that test?
So, let's meet the man at the center of all this, King Jehoiakim of Judah. Now, he's ruling at a super dicey moment in history. You've got the massive Babylonian Empire breathing down his neck, threatening his entire kingdom. And in the book of Jeremiah, he's basically held up as the poster child for a leader who actively rejects the one piece of advice that could save everybody.
And this quote, wow, it really nails how the story frames him. This was not a one-off mistake. It wasn't just a single bad decision. No, Jehoiakim's story is all about a consistent, defining character flaw. He was given every single opportunity to listen, and he actively, repeatedly chose not to.
The way the case against him is built is actually pretty brilliant. It's done through two parallel stories. You can think of them as two huge tests of his character, one at the beginning of his reign and one a little later. It's almost like history gave him a second chance, a do-over, and he managed to fail it in the exact same way.
And when you put these two stories side by side, it's just so clear. Check out the similarities. Both warnings are delivered at the temple, the very heart of their world. Both come from the prophet Jeremiah, and both follow the exact same tragic playbook. You get a warning, then a rejection, and finally, judgment. The only real difference, the first time, the warning was spoken out loud. The second time, it was written down on a scroll.
But here's the part that's just so heartbreaking. Both of these stories start with this little glimmer of hope. It's this one word, perhaps. That word tells you that disaster wasn't a done deal. There was a genuine off-ramp, a real chance to turn things around. It's like the story is saying, hey, it doesn't have to go down this way. And that makes the king's final choice, well, it makes it so much worse.
Okay, so all of this is leading up to the main event, the most dramatic scene in the whole saga. And it's a direct head-to-head contrast between how King Jehoiakim responds to a divine warning and how his own father, the great King Josiah, had handled a nearly identical situation.
I mean, just look at this. The difference is night and day. On one side, you've got his dad, Josiah. He hears the words from a scroll, and what does he do? He completely breaks down, tears his own clothes in grief and repentance. And that single act of humility, it saved his entire generation. Now, fast forward to his son, Jehoiakim. He hears a similar warning, but instead of tearing his clothes, oh no, he tears the scroll. He calmly takes a knife, cuts it up, and just tosses the pieces into a fire, one by one, until the message is nothing but ash. One is humility, the other is pure contempt.
And get this is where the language itself gets really clever. In the original Hebrew, the text uses the exact same root word, kara, for both actions. Josiah karotted his clothes in repentance. Jehoiakim karotted the scroll in rejection. The text itself is practically screaming the contrast at you. It's an incredible piece of literary artistry.
But you know what? It actually gets worse. It wasn't just his own father's legacy that Jehoiakim completely ignored. There was also this famous story from their history, basically a playbook for what a king should do in this exact situation, involving another great king, Hezekiah. And yeah, he ignored that too.
Just look at this breakdown. About 100 years earlier, you have King Hezekiah. He gets this really harsh prophecy of doom. His response? He listened, he repented, and the nation was saved. Okay, now look at Jehoiakim. He hears a similar message from a prophet named Uriah. His response? Pure rage. He actually hunts the prophet down, has him dragged back from Egypt, and executes him. The blueprint for success was sitting right there in his own history books, and he just did the exact opposite.
And here's the real kicker, the absolute height of irony. This wasn't some dusty old story that nobody remembered. At one point, Jehoiakim's own advisors bring up this exact story about Hezekiah. They use it as a legal argument to try and save Jeremiah's life. They are literally telling him, hey king, here's how to get this right, and he still wouldn't listen. His mind was made up.
So as this whole tragic story wraps up, you start to see what's really happening. The narrative is putting him on trial, but not just by himself. It's measuring him against the greatest leaders his country had ever seen, the absolute gold standard. And, well, the verdict is just brutal.
You see, in Judah's history, there were these three kings who were considered incomparable. Solomon for his incredible wisdom, Hezekiah, who we just talked about, for his faith in a crisis, and his own father, Josiah, for his total obedience to the law. These guys were the Mount Rushmore of kingship, the absolute legends.
And that brings us to the final crushing judgment. The story's narrator is essentially doing the ancient version of that famous political debate moment. He's looking Jehoiakim dead in the eye and saying, I knew Hezekiah, I knew your father Josiah. And King Jehoiakim, you are no Hezekiah, and you are certainly no Josiah. It is such a devastating, historical, and personal takedown.
And look, this wasn't just some abstract failure of character. The consequences were real, and they were catastrophic. For Jehoiakim, it meant a disgraceful death. His body literally thrown outside the city gates. His family line was cut off. No son of his would rule. And most tragically, his actions sealed the deal for the entire nation. His refusal to listen didn't just doom him, it doomed them all.
So we come full circle, right back to that question from the beginning. When a leader is faced with a truth they don't want to hear, one that requires humility or change or taking responsibility, how do they react? Because what this ancient story shows us, with chilling clarity, is that the answer to that question isn't just about policy. It's about character. And that is a leadership lesson that is as true today as it ever was.